You're watching Griffon Sports Insider, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Now, here are your hosts, Brett Easley and Ryan Minley.
Hello and welcome. After more than a month, it's home sweet home for basketball this weekend, and why not? Let's start off with rivalry week.
Yeah, double whammy for you.
Peter Tamarkin's on the show this week.
We'll talk about the Griffon We'll talk about the Griffon Bearcat Saturday St. Joe Showdown in a bit, but we begin with football. Big week and a big few months of preparations ahead for David Bass.
The senior defensive end will take part in next month's NFL Combine. Now that is an invitation-only event, and Bass certainly has the physical tools to earn that invite. 6'4", 265 pounds, and a time of 4.7 in the 40-yard dash. Bass is also Missouri Western's all-time sack leader. He is being evaluated as both a defensive end and linebacker for the next level. David currently is in Florida training. He'll also take part in next week's East-West Shrine game in Orlando. That will showcase some of college football's top talent. It's going to be an exciting and stressful few months.
It is an honor. It's unbelievable, actually. A guy like my caliber coming from a small school is, it's probably slim to none to get a chance like that, an opportunity like that. So to be in the second big game and getting that combine in like that's huge. Especially when some 300 people did. I'm really blessed for the fact of that.
The NFL Combine begins February 20th in Indianapolis, and you can also catch Bass in the East-West Shrine game next Saturday, January 19th at 4 p.m. That game televised on the NFL Network.
Griffon basketball concludes a 3-game New Year's road trip this Wednesday at Nebraska-Kearney. Then it's time to finally come back home this Saturday.
Yeah, boy, we've been gone a long time, haven't we? Showdown with Northwest looming at the Fieldhouse. But before we look ahead to this weekend, let's look back to last week's road swing for the Griffon men. A thriller in Edmond, followed by a not-so-pretty performance in Joplin.
Cowboy up in the Panhandle State. Griffon's taking on the Broncos of Central Oklahoma. Western getting blown out of the gym in the first half. UCO drained 9 first-half threes and just completely dominated, taking a 44-30 lead to the break. Then Tom Smith went all Bobby Knight at halftime.
I'm a big believer in accountability, and I really challenge their accountability in the locker room. Probably something they've never seen me do ever before.
How did the Griffons respond? Pretty well, very well actually. Opened the half on a 13-2 run. Al Freeman Flowers, great move down low, Griffs within 3. Later, Reed Mells slicing through the lane for 2. Then Adarius Fulton, the and 1. Western back to within 1 with 12 minutes to play, but then the technical train rolls through the black jerseys. Western hit with 3 tees in a matter of 3 minutes. Jordan Urith, Reed Mells, and then watch Coach Smith. Almost gets teed for being out of his coaching box, turns around, walks back to his place. Mells kind of jumps in to cool the situation. Everything looks like it's going to be all good. Then boom, teed up. This leads to 6 unanswered UCO points. They're back up by 9, but the Griffs claw back again. More from Flowers. He had a team-high 17 points. Western within 3 with under 5 minutes to play. They would grab all the momentum in the final minutes. Cedric Klingscales, solid move in the post. Western up 4 late. Final 20 seconds now. UCO down 1 with the ball, but Flowers commits the foul. He pleads his case, but no dice. Seth Heckert nails 2 free throws to reclaim the lead. Western will try to answer as time ticks away. Mells sees an open lane, takes it, hits the runner. Griffs take the lead. UCO with 1 final shot, full court with a second left. The prayer too strong, and Missouri Western snags a dramatic comeback win. 78-77 the final. Griffs get their first MIAA victory of the season in dramatic fashion. This one a huge confidence boost.
Really good. I can say a lot of things about a lot of games and over the course of a long career. And I would say that this one feels as good as a lot of bigger wins, let's say.
And we looked like we was dead in the water in the first half, and coach came in here and gave us a speech, and then the players just decided for ourselves we sick of just dying. We had a very, very messy, first half of the season. So, we just decided that, it's time to, turn this thing around.
Saturday, the Tom Smith retirement tour continuing in Joplin. The longtime Griffon coach being honored by Missouri Southern before the game. Fans giving him the standing O. They've seen him for 25 years now. Griffon starting hot. Alex Toluca and Fumu Pembe nailed 3 threes in the first 6 minutes, then didn't score again. Griffs up 5 early. Later, Reed Mells, the hero from Thursday night's win at UCO, drives, hits the runner. Just 4 points for Mells, though, but then Southern just goes wild from behind behind the arc. Marcus Addison draining threes left and right. He had 22 points. Southern actually nailed 15 three-pointers on the night. That ties a school record. They shot 58% from the floor and 62% from three-point land. They blow out the Griffs 95-69 the final. The loss drops Western to 5-7 overall, 1-3 in the MIAA.
I think once the floodgates opened, you know, this game was history. I mean, I don't think there's any question. You can't, whether you're zone man-to-man or anything else, you know, if you're not going to give a great effort all the time, you know, you're going to get cut to ribbons. The key to this game is still that they just physically beat us up. I mean, they were physically, and I don't mean that complaining in terms of refereeing or anything. They were stronger, quicker, more aggressive in every aspect of the game.
We'll talk more hoops with Coach Tom Smith when we come back.
No win. Good snap, good hold. The kick is up, and it is certainly long enough, and it is certainly perfect. Man. Another field goal by Greg Zerline. He is now 5 for 5.
The most helpful physical therapist in the world on field goal kicking.
When the game's on the line, there's no one better than Zerline. Train like the pros, my friends.
The Tom Smith retirement tour continues this Wednesday. Nebraska Kearney and returns home Saturday against Northwest Missouri State. And welcome back. Coach Smith joins us in the studio now. Coach Smith recognized before the Missouri Southern game. It was a nice touch, wasn't it?
It was. It was. I appreciated it very much. I think it was instigated by Robert Korn, and you know, part of the deal with Robert at Southern, of course, we've played for 24 years. I think he's been there 24 and 25. But I think both of us have a special tie to Gene Bartow, and he played and coached under him. I played and coached under him. Started my career, would not have had my career without Gene Bartow. So, you know, and I think last year when Coach Bartow passed away in January, both of us attended his funeral down in Birmingham, and I think actually became better friends. Even after all the years we've been friends, but I think we became a little closer friends, realizing that we had both lost a very special person.
Let's talk about the future now. This week, 3-game road trip continues and concludes at Nebraska Kearney Wednesday. Another MIAA newcomer, 3-8 overall, 1-3 in the conference like you, but picked up its first win last week against Northeastern State. Kind of surprising there?
Well, it is a little bit of a go figure, but I do think it's a sign of the times. I don't think you know, if teams don't come to play and they're not sharp, I think the league is so balanced that the teams, and I think Kearney will finish probably towards the bottom, and but I think bottom teams can beat good teams, and I think they will if the good teams don't come to play and they're not ready to play. Now I haven't looked at anything, so I don't really know what went down. I do know that Kearney went and zoned them, zoned Northeastern State at Northeastern State, and I don't think Kearney played much zone before that. So maybe caught them by surprise and never recovered.
Well, you see a bottom team, at least as the league would shape out on Wednesday. Then you're going to see the league's best, at least record-wise. Saturday, Northwest Missouri State comes to the Fieldhouse. First home game in over a month. My goodness, we played all those home games early, haven't been at home for a month. They're 4-0, and probably more impressively, they're doing that without arguably their best player in Deshaun Cooper.
I don't think there's any question. Deshaun Cooper is the best point guard in the league, and I know he's been hurt, and I'm assuming that they're thinking very seriously of redshirting him and getting another year out of him next year. But they're playing very, very well, and you know, they have good size. They're solid defensively, like Northwest has been for years. And I think, you know, anytime you can go on the road and win at Southern and at Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh I think is going to be one of the tougher teams also. So those two wins are very impressive right now.
What do you need to see from your guys on Wednesday and Saturday?
Well, you know, the toughness is what really concerns me. We were bullied, just pushed around physically and by Southern, and you know, I don't mean this derogatory against my kids, but we talk about men playing boys, and that in that particular situation, there were men playing boys, and unfortunately, we were the boys, and that's what we have to get over. We have to get over that, and we have to become men. So I think that's the biggest thing we need to change.
Okay, Coach Smith, it's time for Easley's tantalizing trio, and guess what?
I hope I don't go 0 for 3 again. I went 0 for 3 last week.
Today is cheesecake with your choice of berries or topping.
Berry or topping?
Berries or topping, or both.
Isn't berry a topping?
Well, not necessarily.
No?
It can be.
All right.
Out of a bottle. No. Anyway.
I'll have a berry.
Please, yes. Coach Smith, let's switch sports. 8 teams left the NFL playoffs. From what you've seen, if you've seen anything, who's your Super Bowl right now?
I don't watch football.
He doesn't watch football. Okay.
0 for 1.
I'm 0 for 1. Okay.
0 for 4.
Here's one that I think you're going to be good at. Can you define, in 10 seconds or less, what's the fiscal cliff? I know we've settled it, but my goodness. That's a popular topic.
It's the tax breaks that were brought in by Bush that aren't going to that they're ready to repeal and would affect the middle class.
I knew he'd clarify
Judges,
that for me.
That's close enough. We'll give that to you. All right.
And Coach Smith, let's reflect on your coaching career, and hopefully you might be able to pinpoint this, maybe not. Do you have a most embarrassing moment of your coaching career?
Yeah, actually I do. I think when I was first started at Central Missouri, I got locked in our locker room at the end of halftime.
You missed
I
5 minutes.
was going to the bathroom, and I wasn't even that old, so it wasn't taking that long at that time.
So the ventilator shaft to get out, or okay?
I finally had to knock on the door, and the security guy came by and let me go. And the second half had already started without me upstairs.
Oh, fair enough.
I finally asked a question that had an answer.
That was a good one. It was a close second getting punched in the eye by the official a couple of years ago and getting a black eye from.
That was probably a very close second. And
for the steak over the eye.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
of course.
That's all right. Well, okay.
I'm coming back with an answer on the first one. I'm taking the Denver Broncos.
Taking the Broncos. Oh, that's
can't
not
go
a bad
wrong with
choice.
Peyton Manning. No,
I'd take Peyton Manning too.
That's
Good luck
Coach
this
Tom
week.
Smith. We'll see you on the road in Kearney, Nebraska Wednesday. Back home against Northwest on Saturday. We'll be right back.
I am your physical therapist. My job is to make you better. Go ahead, give me your worst injury. I can fix it. You can ignore that shoulder. You can go to someone else. Doesn't matter. To really get better, you gotta go through me. I'm Fred Schunkweiler, and this is Spine and Sport.
Got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power.
Welcome back. Griffon women's basketball sits at 9-3 overall after going 1-1 last week.
Yeah, 2 games, same scores, opposite results. Here's the highlights from last Thursday and Saturday.
MIAA play resumes in 2013 in Edmond, Oklahoma. 8-2 Griffons opening the new year against the 7-2 Broncos of Central Oak. 2 similar style teams. First half, it was the Heather Howard show. The senior transfer from Oklahoma State with a hot hand, going outside, inside, everywhere in between. 16 of her game high 24 points came in the first half. Griffs by 10 early, but UCO charges back into the half. Western forgets to play D on Jill Bryan. She nails the 3 as time expires. We go to the break tied at 33. Second half, back and forth we go. Niecy Lawrence drives, draws the whistle, gets herself a 3-point play the hard way. She had 12 points, 12 assists. Western up 52-51 at this point. Rob Emerson back home coaching just a few miles from where he won the NAIA national title at Oklahoma City in 2012. That's the welcome back he gets. Technical late in the second half. No worries, though. 3 minutes to play. Sharnice Lewis drains her second of back-to-back threes. Griffs go up 5, and they clamp down the end to hold on for a 78-76 victory. Western runs its record to 9-2 overall, 2-1 in the MIAA. And despite losing the turnover battle, the gritty Griffs keep finding ways to win wars.
Right now, the thing that we're getting out of this is really showing our toughness, being able to lock down and get wins.
It's fun to be able to be versatile and go in and go out and create mismatches and confuse the defense a little bit, so it's a lot of fun.
Saturday's MIAA Trek takes us to Joplin. Griffon women trying for their first win over Missouri Southern since December of '09. Western coach Rob Emerson, line coach Marion Mitz, different bodies, same soul. Griff struggling offensive early. Went the first 5 minutes without a point. Jaquita Deaver changes it. Sick cut to the hole for 2. Griff's down as many as 9 early. Did not shoot well, but their D kept them in it. Western forced 17 turnovers in the first half. Later, great ball movement. Deaver hits Casey Klauser underneath for 2. Griffs go to the break down 42-41. Second half, more more the same. Back and forth. Southern's Shatara Stone, the hoop and harm. Lions up 3. Griffs got down by as many as 7 in the second half, but charged back again. Bear Bell cuts through the lane, draws the whistle herself. She had 8 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. Western within 1. Coach Mitz freaking out. Coach Edmondson chilling out. Under 2 to play. Griffs up 1, but Southern again just dominating down low. Sharice Jones, 2 of her 17 points. Lions reclaim the lead. 9 seconds to play now. Griffs with the ball, down 2, drawing up the play. Here we go. Heather Howard drives, gets the look she wants, but it rims out. Ball game. Griffins drop a heartbreaker, 78-76 the final. Western forced 25 turnovers on the night, plus 8 in the turnover margin, but Southern shot 50% from the field, and that ultimately is the backbreaker for a team that prides itself on defense.
We're not prideful enough defensively. We give up 78 points, and that's not being prideful. Just too many breakdowns, breakdowns by individuals that lead to team problems. And so we got work to do. We've got to get better defensively. It's a tough loss.
What are you learning about this league? There's no gimmies any night.
No, it's a fight every night, and you know, we've proven that we can stay in the game. I guess that's a positive, but this one hurts a little because we need to finish.
Joining us now, head coach Rob Edmondson. Defensively right now, and I know you pride yourself on defense. We talked a little bit about this on Saturday, but to give up 76 and 78, I know you'd like to keep it, in the mid-50s.
Yeah.
How frustrating is that as a coach that prides himself on defense?
Well, it's huge. It's a huge disappointment. It's professionally, it's a little embarrassing when you hang your hat on, hey, I'm a defensive coach, and it's some things that we've looked at very hard on film the last 48 hours is figuring out where are those baskets coming. I thought maybe a lot of it was because we were pressing too much and opening up the court too much, and a lot of it's just breakdowns. It's just simple. Kid didn't guard their player, they get a wide open shot. Kid drives clear to the basket, no one rotates and helps. It's all fixable things.
Right.
Good thing is it's fixable. But to be at game 13 and have those kind of errors is kind of disappointing.
But it's so frustrating to be 9-3 too, I'm sure.
It is, and of course I expect to win every game. And I talked to our staff about this today, and I've tried really hard not to talk a lot about the past, because there's nothing that we did at Oklahoma City or when I was at Oklahoma State or Hudson Community College that helps you here today in terms of winning and losing games, other than being hopefully a wiser coach through the years of coaching a lot of games. But we come from an environment where a 1-loss season's a disappointment, a 2-loss season's a disappointment. You don't win the conference, it's embarrassing, and if you're not in the Final Four, it's a horrible season. And so, from a realism standpoint, I may need to reshape a little bit, because 9-3 is something to be proud of. Our kids should be proud of it. They've put themselves in the position. I asked them at the beginning of the season, guys, put yourself in a place to win every game. That's our goal this year.
And you're there.
Well, then all of a sudden you start out 8-1, and the coach changes his perceptions, and that's not fair to the kids. They're doing what we ask them to do, which is every game. At the end of the game, we've had a chance to win every game, and that's a lot.
And life on the road continues Wednesday night. We've got to go to Nebraska Kearney and play a Kearney team that on paper is struggling. 4-7, 1-3 in the league, and they've lost their first 2 games of 2013 by a combined 47 points. What do you know about the Lopers?
Well, we know that the scores a lot of times is an indicator to how competitive the team is, and they've kind of the woes of first half, the second half of the game. I've looked at all their first halves, and they're getting outscored 10 to 15 points, but then they come back in the second half and play the opponent pretty much even. But I know this, on a road game, it's going to be hard, and again, we'll just try to get one more point than they do.
And you get your first taste of the rivalry back home for the first time in more than a month on Saturday. Northwest enters 8-4 record, 2-2 in the league. That being said, new coach on their end with Mark Kellogg. You're a new coach to this league. A lot of new players on both teams. Really not a big understanding of the rivalry right now. Is that a good thing, bad thing, indifferent thing?
Well, I know rivals tend to be more for fans and spectators and school pride. Every game we play is a rival, because every time we're stepping on the floor, that's our rival that night, and you need to take that approach. And I have an understanding that there are some games that have a bigger persona than other games. But if just like I told the kids in the Missouri Southern loss, if we had won last night, it didn't win us a conference championship, and by losing that game, it didn't cost us a chance to compete for a conference championship. The season's still too young for that, so we'll try not to place a lot of pressure on that game that, hey, it's Northwest, you have to win this game, because we're not in a have-to-win situation yet. But just from a prideful standpoint of 2 new coaches and who wants to establish what program's getting along the road a little quicker, then that does throw a little bit of interest in there.
Well, Rob, your favorite segment is, I'm sure, it's well, maybe. Oh. Well, maybe. This is easily tantalizing trio. Our soup today's
favorite part.
Our soup today's clam chowder. I don't know if you like clam chowder or not, but that just kind of happens to be what it is. Rob, I'm going to either make you look like a genius or maybe not. When this show airs, the game will be over. Who wins the national championship game? Will it be Alabama or Notre Dame? My head says Alabama. My heart says Notre Dame. Okay, well, there you go.
It's a very political answer. You're going to run for office? You're going to run for mayor next year?
Senator, I do not recall.
Okay, and the get to know, in the spirit of the get to know Rob Edmondson questions, these next two. Rob, you may not have one, but if you did, and you might, I'm underestimating you, what would be playing? What's playing on your iPod right now? On my iPod right now? If I had an iPod, which I don't,
an iPad.
I would have an MP3 player,
John
an iPod. I have a 1947 cell phone that was invented back in '47.
Somehow I don't believe that either.
But if I was listening to something right now, it'd probably be the Eagles.
You're probably not a karaoke guy. You might be. But if you had to go up and nail one song, if you had to go up and nail one song, what would it be?
Probably Garth Brooks with the I've Got Friends in Low Places.
Okay, there you go.
Oh my God, you're my new best friend. I like that.
Got that.
One more question too. Andy Reid, best mustache in Kansas City. Heard Rob Edmondson had the mustache for a while. Are you a mustache?
When's that going to come back?
In the '80s, I had it.
In the '80s.
Well, I had it a long time. I actually accidentally cut half of it off one day, so I had to go with the whole thing.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of that.
I could have grown one since the '80s.
No, it could grow back, but then when I got rid of it, we started going to the Final Four, and so
leave it off, please.
Now I'm going to leave it off. Now, if we don't get to the Final Four in the next 2 or 3 years, it'll come back.
Come back.
Okay. All right. Good luck on Wednesday at
Thank you. See you this week.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That's Rob Edmondson. We'll be right back.
All right, we're here with Griffon basketball player Freeman Flowers to talk about a rebounding drill, but also to talk about injury prevention. Basketball players jump all the time, and a lot of times they're jumping off one leg. We got to make sure the ankle, the knee, the hip is able to protect that athlete so they don't get injured. So games played above the rim, and we're going to demonstrate a drill here to talk about rebounding. So Al's going to demonstrate an exercise for us here. We're going to turn him front to forward here. And so three-dimensional rebounding. He's going to go up, but we're going to have him jumping on one leg. So great exercise right here for his ankle, for his knee, for his hip, but his upper body and his eyes are engaged in the task at hand. That's rebounding the ball. He's going to switch legs now. He's going to go to the other leg. So he's getting up high, but he's having to react with his foot, his knee, and his hip, while his body is squared arm. But that rebound doesn't always come at you squared away. So now we're going to turn him in a sideways dimension. He's going to face sideways. He's going to go off one leg, and he's going to bounce that ball off the basket. This works his body sideways to get that rebound. Meanwhile, that hip and that ankle, they realize that they're in a different dimension. Very good. So now the third dimension is more rotational. To do this one, still facing sideways, but now he's got to go up and rebound with his opposite hand, which is going to integrate a rotational component to the rebound. So he goes up, his leg is still jumping, but because he's rotating more toward the basket, his hip has to rotate more. So it's a harder task, makes his body more three-dimensional. Our goal is to improve someone's vertical, to improve their performance, but also injury prevention is the key. We do a lot of training on one leg to strengthen the ankle, the knee, the hip, that whole chain. That's training like the pros above the rim. That's Spine and Sport.
The most helpful physical therapist in the world on neck pain.
I can fix it.
Spine and Sport. Stay healthy, my friends.
Hey sports fans, I'm Major Mike Roberts of the Missouri National Guard. For centuries, Missourians just like you have volunteered to be citizen soldiers to protect and defend our country and the great state of Missouri. We are the Guard. As a member of our team, you can benefit from 100% tuition assistance, an enlistment bonus, or student loan repayment. To learn more or to join our dynamic team, please contact your Missouri National Guard recruiter.
Welcome back. You ready for role play?
Ready for Pick'em if they get rid of it.
Yeah, Pick'em's gone. NCAA killed it.
Cut that down.
Management, NCAA management.
Role play, I'm ready for it. Yes. What member of the Chiefs organization am I this week?
Well, your new Chiefs head coach.
Duh, should have known that.
Why wouldn't you be?
Yes. You have my mustache?
No,
Need to borrow some facial hair.
Yes,
from
you do. You have more playoff wins in 14 years with the Eagles than the Chiefs do in their entire franchise history. Tell me why, with you at the helm, that it's all going to be fine.
Let's get one thing out of the way right now. I wore black on black in Philadelphia. I am going to wear red slacks in Kansas City.
Gosh,
okay, let's get that out of the way. And you know the other thing I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to take a quarterback from dirt and make him respectable.
Matt Castle.
I did. Not going to do that.
Okay.
Did that with Donovan McNabb, even though he was a respectable player. I got Michael Vick out of jail and made him respectable. I've even taken some no-names. Coy Detmer, he started for me and I made him good. We're going to be good at the quarterback position. I'm going to revitalize this scrap heap of wide receivers. And yes, Steve Breston is going to suit up for me next year. I'm going to hire a defensive genie. We're going to win 10 games next year. We're going to get the tomahawk chop back and we're going to revitalize
a playoff game.
I'm not going to go that far.
Okay.
We'll see. Ryan Menley, guess what? In the spirit of new NFL head coaches.
New NFL coaches.
You are new Bills head coach, Doug Marrone.
Who?
Did I even pronounce that right?
Yeah, I went. You know what? I went 8-5 at Syracuse. Next question.
You look
no
terrible
more.
in orange.
Next one.
Okay,
Go to
Ryan
that was
Menley.
a bad role play.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Awful question by me. Ryan, better question. You are RG3.
Oh, okay.
You re-injured that already injured knee in Washington's playoff loss. You have the coaches bickering. Dr. James Andrews, the knee guru, bickering. What's your shelf life? How long are you going to be in the NFL?
Good question. You know what?
Finally.
I have Michael Jordan-like potential.
You do.
I am that good. 3 years max.
They're going to be doing a 30 for 30 story.
Yeah, I'll be out in 3 years. The NFL is not the NBA.
No, it's not.
And I'm very good, but I'm just not sure I'm built for that. But I am a Griffin. That says something.
Well, you're part of the brethren.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Max Griffin's on strike this week. He'll be back next week.
Sabbatical. He landed on the beach, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's trying to save that whale, isn't he?
He is still after a month. And as always,
ladies and gentlemen, go Griffs.
I met Gerald in 2010. He came to me after an injury he sustained in Afghanistan back in 2008. And he described to me as he was in his Humvee and got blown up by a roadside bomb, and that he broke his back, he broke his hip, separated his shoulder. Working with a Special Forces soldier, to think about the demands that he's got to go through. It's a whole nother concept of training like the pros.
So I've had really good progress. It's been amazing, especially coming up here, working, utilizing the pool for the buoyancy factor, especially at the beginning, to kind of help the actual healing process. I've kind of transitioned from actual mobility to stability, and lately onto strength and resistance and cardiovascular training.
And it took him 2 years and multiple surgeries. But it was fun to see him go from broken to back in the Special Forces doing what he does best, and that's serving the country. And he was a great inspiration to all of us to see him go through that transformation.